Pokemon Ultimate Adventures by Mikazuki. How could any humans be so strong? As Pikachu was about to attack with lightning, Skyrender's hand shot up and grabbed him over the head. Don't be surprised, you're not the first one who's faced the might of the Super Fiends and failed. Against G.I. Jolt's superhuman strength, Twin Dreamer's psychic powers, Goth's mastery of darkness, and Antarctic's techniques of ice, indeed, not even Pokemon can compete with the power they hold, he said, clutching Pikachu in his hands. Pikachu! Ash screamed. Pika! Pikachu growled. Pikachu! Skyrender stared at Pikachu with a bored expression on his face. Even as lightning was surging right through him, he didn't show any signs of pain. Is that all? He asked, as the electricity stopped, and he saw Pikachu panting. Ah! Let go of Pikachu! Ash screamed, charging towards Skyrender. Fine then, we'll give you back your Pokemon, said Skyrender. Ah! Ash screamed when Skyrender threw Pikachu through the air, hitting him in the face. He yelped as Goth, Twin Dreamer, and Antarctic threw Totodile, Bayleaf, and Cyndaquil at him. His eyes opened wide. Quickly, he snatched the 4 Pokemon in his arms and dove aside. Ash screamed when G.I. Jolt lifted Snorlax and Tauros and threw them at him. He barely missed those 2. Return! He shouted, calling them back as the fiends laughed at him. So that's it? The almighty Super Fiends think that they're so powerful, when in reality they're so weak they can't even fight me on their own and have to gang up on me all at once? Is that it? Huh? On the contrary, said Skyrender, my team did not make any moves until you started calling your Pokemon into battle. He crossed his arms. If you call others to fight for you, then I will do the same, and my team will fight for me. Skyrender glared at him. This is between you and me, and I will not have you bring in anyone to interfere. If you do, they will come down and make short work of it. Ash growled. He was cornered like a rat. If he used a Pokemon, the Super Fiends would attack him. If he didn't, he'd be dead on account of Skyrender himself. Location: versus Cleft. Cleft punched Onyx with his metal gloves and broke out several chunks of rocks from Onyx's body. This, along with the many other injuries Onyx took from this guy, was too much. Onyx collapsed. What are you thinking, trying to use a rock type against me? Ha! Ah! Brock screamed as Cleft charged forwards and tackled him, sending him stumbling back and gasping for breath. Why you? Brock growled. Ha! He let out a shout, punching the Super Fiend in the chest. That barely itched! The Fiend shouted, then slammed his elbow directly into Brock's gut. Brock flew back and hit the ground. He's too strong! Brock gasped desperately. Brock! No! Misty shouted. Staryu! Double Edge! Staryu sprung into the air, spinning like a shuriken towards Cleft's face. Whoop! Cleft casually tilted his body, and the Pokemon flew right past him. Too slow, he smiled. Oh, really? Misty shouted. Swift attack! Huh? Cleft looked up, as thousands of tiny, sharp, stinging stars rained down upon him. Firmly placing his feet onto the ground, he crossed his arms in the X position. The attack ended, and he stood there, unharmed. Ouch! That stung a little! He lowered his arms and laughed, but saw Misty wasn't standing still. Now's my chance! Misty ran forwards with a hammer. Ha! Clef exclaimed, as Misty smashed her hammer straight into his face. Misty held the hammer over her shoulder, as Staryu came flying in her direction. Staryu! Now! Water gun! Maximum strength! Ah! Clef screamed as the water pressure lifted him right off the ground and sent him flying into the woods. Ha-ha! Water beats ground! Misty cheered. Thank you, Misty. Brock gasped for air as Misty helped him up. Easy there, Brock, Misty smiled. Now there's no one in our way. Let's go help Ash. Not so fast! Clef stepped out of the woods, soaking wet. What was that you said about water-beaten ground? He spat to the side. I'm a human being. Only ground Pokemon get hurt when touched by the water element, you moron! Bonsai laughed from the trees. You're losing your touch, Cleft! That girl got you good! Shut up! Clef shouted angrily, slamming his fist against the tree Bonsai sat in. What? Wow! Misty, Brock, and Ebby watched in shock. Clef had punched the tree, causing it to break in half, and sent the grass fiend falling to the ground. Ouch! Bonsai groaned, getting up. He stretched a little, and then turned around. What was that for? Quit slacking off and actually fight! Not that I need your help in crushing these weaklings, but the sooner we get them out of the way, the sooner we can get to see Sky in action! Clef shouted. When you put it that way... Bonsai drew his weapons, a pair of bladed war fans. Geodude, use your attack and defense with Harden, and follow up with Dynamic Punch! Brock yelled. Geodude! Geodude became diamond hard with the move. His body wasn't the only thing that toughened. His knuckles did too. Geo! Geodude charged forwards, swinging his heavy fists. Pitiful! Clef scoffed, his arm outstretched. Right before the Pokemon's fist had reached him, Cleft had punched first, and Geodude's body cracked all over. Geodude collapsed. In both reach and power, I'm far superior. Ha! Bonsai immediately dashed forwards and towards Staryu, slashing repeatedly and cutting off Staryu's arms. He then folded both his metal fans. Ha! Swinging both his arms, he struck the metal base of his weapons against Staryu's jewel, causing it to crack. The Pokemon's strength faded, and it too collapsed. Staryu! Misty screamed, running to her injured Pokemon. Though the Starfish Pokemon could regrow lost limbs, she knew it was in pain. It's no use! They're too strong! Ebby shouted. Earlier, the two were throwing everything they had at Cleft, and were getting nowhere. And now that Bonsai had stepped in, the battle had become too one-sided. There's no point in going on, said Bonsai, turning to them. You've already lost, and we'll give you the chance to run. You're way out of your league, said Cleft. The only one among you who could possibly compete with us is Ketchum, and he's not here. He's right, Misty spoke to herself. Ash isn't here to fight for us, but that's not going to stop me from fighting, she said, remembering how he fought Doppelganger. He fought with the odds stacked against him, and he didn't give up! She glared at the two super fiends. I won't back down! I won't run away!